Hi Krishna, here I am in New Bridgedam, and Friday, which is the first day of our fair, annual fair, always an exciting time. We're expecting a lot of visitors, and we're expecting that the weather will also cooperate with us. Friday, usually people come more in the afternoon, and but it's hot today. Boy, it's really, really hot. Uh, as we say in English, hot as blazes. Tomorrow is supposed to cool down, and that's much better because when it gets too hot, people tend to just hang out in nearby Lake Balaton. Um, so when weather's cooler, then they tend to come and visit. I already did a look around to the site. It looked very nice. Actually, we'll put up some pictures or try to get some video footage of it so as to be able to share that with devotees who aren't here in Hungary. We had about 100 devotees come from just Budapest to assist with the organization. And for those of you who've been to New Bajadam, you know the square, Goranga Square, in front of the temple. That's completely covered by a big prasadam tent. And it's usually the busiest place. And then a stage tent is there, and one part is near the temple, and the other part is around the Goshala. That's where our whole eco uh, village theme and sustainability is visible. I didn't get to go that far because I had to come back and do puja and do this podcast, and then I'll go out again. I had a series of questions from Abhinandana Das, and they're centered around Vaishnava Aparad. So he's writing, what's the difference uh, between proper and improper behavior and making Vaishnava Aparad? A lot of these questions, I would say, are sort of mental. And their answer isn't something that Shivaram Swami can give some kind of black and white answer to, because they're based on time, place, circumstance, people involved, and that requires judgment. And judgment comes, and wisdom comes from experience, having heard from others, and having studied Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, seeing the example of enlightened devotees and how they behave. And when we do that, then we get a good idea immediately. You know, we have the tools to actually deal with the questions that he's asking. So what's the difference between improper behavior and Vaishnava Aparad? I could just make it simple and say there's no difference. If you deal improperly with Vaishnavas, you'll commit offense to them. But even if there is a difference, why should we deal improperly with Vaishnavas? Is it our right to deal improperly? Obviously, such a mentality is in itself offensive, and it will lead to offenses. So we should always deal properly. That is the nature of a Madhyam Bhakta. Prema, Maitri, Kipopeksha, Karoti, Samadhyama. He always has proper dealings, and with different types of people, whether it be atheists or innocent people or Vaishnavas or very advanced devotees. He knows how to deal. Rupa Goswami gives us instruction on this. It's what sadachar is about, etiquette is about, how devotees deal amongst each other. His next question is, are jokes acceptable, or are they also fall in the category of something that's improper? Vaishnavas joke. Uh, they're not always serious. Krishna jokes, Prabhupada joked a lot. But again, according to time and circumstance. Sometimes jokes are suitable, sometimes they're not. It's natural for devotees to joke. It's natural for devotees to eat. That doesn't mean that you're eating all the time, any place, in front of anyone or eating anything. We have a discrimination as to what, when, how we eat. Same thing with joking. You have to know the time, place, circumstance, and if you don't, then you're liable to make a mistake and do the improper things. So we should know about that. Then he says, what's the uh, border between that which is proper and that which is improper? Once again, it will vary, and we need to have the intelligence to be able to discriminate. It will vary according to time, place, and circumstance. What is proper with one thing is not proper with something else. Uh, how one conducts oneself with one's friends, one cannot conduct oneself with one's spiritual master. How you conduct yourself with your friend, you don't necessarily conduct yourself with a guest who comes. The things that you speak with other Vaishnavas, you don't speak with non-devotees. We talk about Krishna's pastimes with Vaishnavas, we don't speak with other devotees. So you have to know these things. Same thing in terms of behavior, in terms of speech, in terms of actual overall conduct, body language. We should know what's proper and what's not. For instance, you can tell a very close friend, you can do this as a body language. No, that's silly. But you can't necessarily tell that to someone when you're on Sankirtan. You can't tell me you're just crazy. Then you have to do it in a different way. And similarly, when you're preaching, according to who it is that you're preaching to, you have to speak to them differently. So better learn it. You've got to learn the difference. He says, if a practicing devotee makes offenses to Vaishnavas, what should he do if he's afraid to associate with others so that he won't make more offenses? If someone's a practicing devotee, if someone makes offenses, if someone's a habitual offender, he's not a practicing devotee. You would say he's hardly a devotee. Devotees don't make offenses, at least not habitually. They may occasionally, accidentally make offenses. We may all do that. But someone who's an aparadi doesn't fall into the category of a Vaishnava. He's a Vaishnava Vas. He's almost a Vaishnava. And almost a Vaishnava is another way of saying you're not a Vaishnava. It's just like you're saying I'm almost a millionaire. It means that you're not a millionaire. So we need to learn how to be offenseless. We need to be offenseless in chanting Hare Krishna. And you can only be offenseless in chanting Hare Krishna if you're offenseless and you're dealing with Vaishnavas. So how do we expect to get anywhere in spiritual life if the basic principle to become freed from offenses we are not willing to practice? It can be learned. It requires self-control, help from others, but even if someone has that type of acidic or critical mentality, still he should learn how to control it. Otherwise, you can't make advancements in spiritual life. So the idea isn't to just lock yourself up in a room because you'll continue to be offensive within your mind, but actually to learn how to overcome that type of habit and behavior that causes one to deal with improperly. So as once when Srila Prabhupada told one disciple who was saying, well, Srila Prabhupada, you say that we should look at all women as mothers, but in Western culture, people aren't taught how to even behave nicely with their mothers, even they are offensive towards their mothers and impolite. And Prabhupada's answer was, then learn it. So one has to learn it. There's no other alternative. We have to learn how to deal amongst Vaishnavas, how to conduct ourselves in a offenseless, polite, nice way. This is called sadachar. And Krishna also says this is the austerity of the tongue. Avoiding offensive speech and always speech that is always very pleasing, conduct that is always very pleasing. We need to learn it. Hare Krishna.